Hi, Northwoods. I'm Bobby Bucknam. Glad to be with you today. I so enjoyed Dr. Storm's teaching on the weekend, didn't you? If you haven't heard his message, I highly recommend that you go back and listen to it. There's so much good stuff in there. Dr. Storms taught on the spiritual gifts that are listed in 1 Corinthians 14 that are given to each of us as believers so that we can minister Jesus' love to others in an effective way. The gift that is highlighted twice in this chapter by the Apostle Paul is the gift of prophecy. 1 Corinthians 14:1 says, "Earnestly desire the gifts of the Spirit, especially prophecy." And then at the end of the chapter, in verse 39, he says, "Therefore, my brothers and sisters, be eager to prophesy." He drew special attention to the gift of prophecy, and you gotta wonder why. Why is this gift singled out in this way? Well, I believe it's because there's something special about this gift that builds us up in a significant way. Let me tell you a personal story. I go to Starbucks every year on my birthday to get my free venti drink and sit and spend some time with Jesus, just, asking him about the year and what's ahead. And as I was sitting there, I noticed a group of women were sitting off to my right, and there was one woman in particular that I was kind of drawn to, and I started realizing that Jesus wanted me to go talk to her and give her maybe a prophetic word. And I started getting nervous and was like, no. But I thought, okay, look, you can do this. And so I just started jotting some notes down. I went over at a kind of an opportune moment and just asked her if she would mind if I just shared some things with her. So I told her I had been praying and God had highlighted her, and this is what I had heard for her, that, you look like the kind of person who is straightforward in what you have to say in the best possible way, that people can trust what you say and they don't have to wonder if you meant it. You've been given this ability to speak truth by God, and he uses it in the lives of people. I see you as a mentor to others, encouraging them along, helping them to make healthy and wise decisions. I just want you to know you're a real gift to them. Well, at this point, she stops me and she pushes up her sleeve and she goes, "Look, I have goosebumps. All that you're saying is true. How did you know this?" And I said, "Well, you know what? It's just Jesus. I didn't know anything. He's just affirming you and letting you know that he sees you, cares about you." But she was so taken aback that she just kept talking. And we finally just get through the rest of the word, and I'm able to talk to her about her relationship with God. She's a believer, and she's just so surprised that God would do this for her today. That's what it looks like on a good day to give the gift of prophecy to someone. These women had just been laid off all of their jobs and were talking together to encourage each other, and God allowed me to enter into that process and bring them some encouragement. Dr. Storms gives a simple definition of prophecy: speaking forth in human words something God has spontaneously brought to mind. Speaking forth in human words something God has spontaneously brought to mind. It's looking at a person and seeing how God has wired them and affirming that. Or maybe knowing that they need a word of encouragement in a specific way today. At a higher level in this gift, God may show you something about this person that only he could know. And when you tell the person, it gets their attention and it lets them know that they're seen and cared for by God. Spiritual gifts, including the gift of prophecy, are the Holy Spirit himself showing his power through you and me. So what does it feel like to be around Jesus? What would Jesus say to this person if he were physically right there with them? If we can tap into that, that's the essence of prophecy. 1 Corinthians 2:16 says, "We have the mind of Christ." Our mind and Jesus' mind are one. Are we growing in having our thoughts all line up with his? Well, of course we are. And as we read his word and pray and press into living a holy life, that alignment only increases. But we can regularly have thoughts that are from him and are for the benefit of other people. That's how prophecy works. We will often discount the thoughts that we have as not being from God. I've done that so many times. I just made that up. Well, maybe it was from God. An easy test is, does it sound like something God would say? 1 Corinthians 14:3 says, "But the one who prophesies speaks to people for their strengthening, encouraging, and comfort." Is your thought strengthening? Is it encouraging? Is it comforting? Well, if it is, then go for it. How can it hurt to share something like that? Okay, so what does it look like in real life? If you're a beginner and you've never done this before, this is a great place to start. Just be an encourager. If you can master encouragement, you're well on your way to developing the gift of prophecy. Remember 1 Corinthians 14:3 says, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their strengthening, encouraging, and comfort. So just do that. Notice people. Tell them what you see in them that's good, and be specific. You can practice this with strangers. Ask Jesus to help you notice the special gifts that he's placed in people, and then just tell them. Has that teacher at school been especially kind to your son or daughter? Then tell them. Let them know they're making a difference in your child's life. How about that girl at the checkout? Does she have a great attitude? Then tell her that you appreciate the excellence with which she works. Maybe a coworker has a way of working through conflict with people that you have learned from. Then tell him and comment specifically on his positive attributes. This is the beginnings of the use of the gift of prophecy, speaking into people's lives and highlighting the strengths that God has shown you that they have. So what keeps us from doing this on a regular basis? Well, if you're like me, it's a couple of things. Number one is lack of intention, just not being purposeful. During Dr. Storm's message, I realized that I'd grown lazy in looking for opportunities to give people encouraging or prophetic word. And the next day I was at the doctor's office and I asked Jesus for something to say to the doctor that would encourage him. And right away he gave me a simple word. Oh no. So I shared it, and it just felt so good to be a part of God's encouragement team again. Secondly, our next biggest enemy is fear. The enemy will do his best to make us think that we're going to look stupid, or we heard wrong, or the person will think we're weird. I beg you, don't give in to fear. It's just our pride and the enemy trying to take us out of the game. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. I know there are some of you listening who are past beginner in this. This has been review for you. You know how to do this, and some of you are being so faithful. Can I just say thank you, and good for you for trying. Others of you need a little encouragement or a swift kick in the rear like I did to get you going again. Well, here it is. I would encourage all of you today, beginner or experienced, to step into that place of adventure with the Holy Spirit and allow him to use you in someone's life. Someone around you today needs to know that God sees them and loves them and cares about them. And you get to be the one that carries that message to them. What an honor that is for us. Let me pray for you. I'm just going to ask you to pause first and ask God, is there someone today that you want me to encourage? Would you just show me their face and let me know? And if someone comes to mind, then just ask Jesus, do you have any words for them? Even one word that you want me to share with them today. That's a good way to just practice getting words for giving someone a prophetic or an encouraging word. I've got 3 books here that I recommend that are very helpful in this. The first one is Dr. Storm's book on the spiritual gifts. You can find any of these in our bookstore. The Jack Deere book on the gift of prophecy. It's on the whole book is on prophecy, and these are great beginner or intermediate books on learning. I'm not sure if this is in our bookstore, but You All May Prophesy by Steve Thompson has also been a very helpful book to me. And that's one of the ways that you can grow in your ability to get better and better at using the gift of prophecy. And of course, there's this class that somebody teaches called Doing What Jesus Did that I highly recommend. And we cover how, and we practice giving words of prophecy in that class. And so I would invite you to register for that at northwoods.church/DWJD if you'd be interested in finding out more information or registering for that class. Well, thanks for spending this time with me today. I hope you have a great week and stay on God's encouragement team.